You've got so many things going on right now, don't you? But you as a professional, you need to be able to structure in and work into your schedule every single day, every single week. When are you going to work with art, right? But there's a problem. A lot of people don't know how to do this. So that's why in this video, I want to give you a schedule and a structure for you that's easy to follow so that you can continue to grow and develop as a professional. Here we go. The number one reason that I see why artists don't get enough done, they don't manage their time well, is that they just sit down and they go, okay, let's make art. And this is extraordinarily inefficient, y'all, because what you actually need to do is give yourself targeted goals. So what I typically do is I typically use something like this in order to really structure out what do I need to get done that week. And by giving yourself some kind of a schedule, just like this one, then you can really write down targeted things that you need to accomplish. You can do this by day, you can do this by week. And when you're doing this, don't be ambiguous. I don't recommend that you say things like details. Like details where? Be specific. Where are you going to do that? Whatever is going to happen in there, give yourself targeted goals. A really easy way that you can also get this done is just on a sticky note or on a scrap piece of paper, just write down like 1 to 3 things that you want to get done and be really specific with that. Because when you are intentional with your time, you are going to be more efficient with your time versus you just floundering around and trying to figure out what the heck you're going to do in that time frame. And that also brings me to this point that we have to talk about. What is definitely proven is that when you work with a targeted goal and you give yourself a time frame, your rate of improvement accelerates for it. So you want to make sure that you not only give yourself a targeted goal, but you quantify how much time that's going to take. Now, let's say that you're somebody here who doesn't know how much time it takes to do things, or there's too much variance. So here's how you get through this, friend. First off, what you can do is if you're doing anything digitally, start recording yourself and just see how much time that takes. The other thing, what you can do pretty easily, if you don't do this, if you're working traditionally or in any other medium, create kind of like a punch in punch out system for yourself where you just write down what time you start and then what time you finish. So give yourself that overall time frame to work with it. As far as how you should be working with yourself and structuring in your professional work or your personal work too, I want to give you a really strong outlook on how you should schedule your time. So check this out. All right, y'all, let's take a look at this bad boy right here. So this is pretty typical for what I see for somebody who's just starting out. They're just getting used to commissions. They're just getting used to working with clients. Here's the problem with this one is that you'll see basically when you're going to check in with your clients. And by the way, if you're not working with clients, just imagine that this is you personally working on one or more than one artworks at a time. The problem with you working with multiple clients and then having all of the check-in dates or update days on the exact same day, y'all, is that you're overloading yourself. This is craziness because typically what's going to happen, and just, probably life is going to happen to you. You might have something come up, you might get sick, your kids might get sick, your partner might get sick, you might get into an accident. Life happens, right? You might get abducted by ninjas, I don't know. But in any case, if you are going to structure in all of your client update dates on the same day, it is madness because what you're setting yourself up for is massive stress, y'all. I don't recommend this. And listen, the more clients that you work with, the dumber this idea becomes. You absolutely cannot have this same check-in date. Y'all, I've done this with 4 or 5 clients at a time, and I have made this stupid mistake, and it stressed me out so much. Like, all it led me to was me staying up stupidly late the night before. Don't do this, y'all. There's an easier way to get this one done, and here's how you should do it. So the first remediated schedule that I want to show you is for if you're just going to do this as a side hustle, okay? This could also be for a developing artist if you want to give yourself some great structured guidelines for you to actually hit your goals and, finish artwork for a change. Are you a serial unfinisher? Let me know about it down below here. I hope this helps you. Basically, if you're going to be a side hustler, so as you can see right here, I have different days that I'm going to check in with different clients, and I've included on here at least 4 different clients. You're also going to notice how I've also then gone ahead and I have other clients that I'm structuring in afterwards. So basically, what you always want to do are 2 things. You want to first off make sure that you don't have your client update days all on the same day, or more than one on the same day if you can make it so. And also, as you're finishing one project, you can go ahead and start another. Now, what's really great about this schedule is it gives you full amendability to work around everything in your life, your social life, your personal life, your romantic life too, don't forget about that one. And then of course to your job, because this is a side hustle at this point. And again, you should really only need to check in with a private client once a week. Anything more than that, that's gravy, but not necessary. Now, let's take a look at what this looks like if you are a full-time professional artist and or you're somebody that is trying to build this into a professional career. Okay, so when we take a look at the schedule of somebody that's going to be a full-time artist, so basically what I recommend to you, friend, is that you definitely want to make sure that you get at least 2 or 3 check-ins. But again, don't put all of your updates on the same freaking day. One of the things that you can do is definitely make sure that you give yourself some rest room in between, so that if things take longer, if they take shorter, then you know exactly what you need to get done and when it has to be done. So again, as you look at this schedule here, you're gonna notice how I've alternated what days I check in with what clients, and especially if you're working with private clients, you can work with them on the weekends. They'll have no problems with that. Now, if you're working with corporate clients, this is probably a bit more structured for you. You might have in your contract an actual deadline that you have to provide updates with. So you can definitely accommodate that and you can work that into your structured communication with them as well. And it's not hard to do. You see how that works, y'all? Isn't that so much less stressful? Now, while you're scheduling and all this, friend, here's what you also need to insert into here. You need to get some time for your personal work, your own IPs, your OCs, your original stories, things that are gonna make you a brand, things that are going to basically just enliven you, things that are gonna bring out your passion and allow you to stretch and explore what you're actually able to do, right? So that's really important. So structure in at least, friend, at least one day where you are going to work on your professional artwork. This is not something that you're getting paid for. It's not something that anybody asked you to do. It's not even artwork that your mom asked you to do. I want you to just work on stuff that you love, that you're really interested in, that is going to be worthwhile for you to develop your personal interests. Make sure you structure in at least one day for that, and then that way too, while you're working on all your professional work, then that way you can just keep your love and your passion for art alive. And also, y'all, you can't forget about this. Now look, this may sound counterintuitive, this may sound like it's something that is not productive, but I promise you, friend, it's going to make a big difference for you. You have to structure in at least one day a week where you're not making any artwork, okay? This seems like it's counterintuitive, but my friend, I just gotta let you know this. For the sake of your mental health and your physical health too, you need a day where you're not sitting hunched over something and you're trying to draw, you're trying to paint, and it's really good for your overall mental and physical health for you to have a day where you're just not heavily producing artwork, okay? This is also gonna be your day for socialization. This is also gonna be a good structured day for you to do things like spend time with your partner or your kids or your dog or your cat or whatever cool exotic animal. You have a tiger or anything? That might be kind of fun until they grow up and rip your face off, But anything that you're doing right there that is fun, do that on that day. And this break day is gonna allow you to then come back refocused and re-energized to pour all the energy into your professional endeavors or into your personal artistic growth endeavors too. Don't forget about that. Now listen, friends, everything that I've just said is completely worthless unless you also manage this. Everything that you're doing, all of your efforts, the time that you're sitting down, it doesn't matter if you're not actually focused, if you're not actually fully engaged in art making, if you're not actually spending the most amount of time and effort producing, not having it taken away by anything else. So I just gotta be honest with you, friends, there's a lot of artists that work for a lot of time on artwork, but they're not actually working. What they're doing is they're getting distracted. They're looking over here, over there, down here, up there, behind us, whatever it is, but you're getting distracted by everything that is around you in your environment. So I wanna give you some big tips right now to make sure that you maximize your efforts. Number one, if you have anybody in your household, in your life right now that is distracting, maybe they barge in all the time, some things that you can do for them really easy. Number one is you can work when they go to bed. That's what I typically do when my wife and kids are asleep. I'm up making my artwork. Works really well for me, might work really well for you. Number two is that you can also just let them know like, hey, mom, dad, bae, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna work on my artwork right now. So please, I just need like an hour or two. Can you just tell me if you need anything done? Get that stuff done before you go into that space. Another big distraction is obviously any electronics that are in your space right now. So if you find yourself putting on shows that are really engrossing, if you find yourself watching YouTube videos while you draw, but your attention is less on your artwork right here and it's more over here on whatever's happening on Stranger Things, then you've got a big problem because you're not actually engaged. And every single second that you look away is like a full minute that you have to take to re-engage with your actual artwork. Don't do that to yourself, friend. You have to manage your distraction and make make sure that you're actually focused on your efforts. So with electronic distractions, what you might want to consider doing are things like turning your phone upside down, turning it on vibrate, turning off notifications, putting it in another room, putting it in a drawer where you can't access it. If it's a TV, shutting it off. How about that? That's a crazy idea, right? If you just set yourself up in your space so that you can actually fully focus and fully 100% engage as much as possible with it, then you're going to succeed so much more. And I promise you, it's a big productivity hack so that you can actually, get some stuff done. So now you've got a great structure that you can apply to whatever you're doing, friend. You might now be thinking about this. Look, if you're new to the game on how to make professional looking artwork, if you're new to working with clients, you might be questioning yourself, is this good enough? How do I send anything to an art client? I don't really know. Well, listen, friend, I got an entire guide for you on how to actually send great updates to your clients, things that they're gonna love and they're gonna get excited for every single time that you send them an awesome artwork update. And you can watch that right here.